I am not a technical analyst, far from it, and I do poke a little bit of fun at the technical analysts. But I have said repeatedly that there's two things I can tell you, that there are resistance points, numbers, round number resistance points, but there's also uh, previous highs, previous lows, and especially if those are repeated, those become resistance points. You can see it. It's right in front of your eyes, and you can't joke about it. It's true. So 338 is one of those resistance points, and this morning we have broken through that resistance point. That's probably good news. It's probably an indication that Tesla's doing a lot of things right now, and that maybe some folks are beginning to go, a lot of things are coming up that could be game changers. And there's a lot of good news this morning. Some of that good news is not Tesla. It's Home Depot actually missed for their quarter, but they gave good guidance. As a result, they were actually up. I haven't looked recently, but they were up in the early going. And I'll give some details on their report later in the program. Tesla is a news machine right now, and I think that's because Elon is back and he's very, very active. And it's all outstanding, quite frankly, today. But if the narrative has shifted at all, then the folks want AI news. And there's a bit of that today, and there has been a bit of that all week. But what there's really a lot of right now is car news. Now, that's good. I'm always glad to see good car news, and I want to see them get big, big numbers in the third and fourth quarter, and then on into 2025, 6. It'd be lovely if we could sell a bunch of cars, because every one of those is a potential robotaxi. Well, let's talk about the cars. Let's start with this from Mario Knopfel. He says Tesla launches the Model YL in China officially. Tesla has rolled out the Model YL in China with a starting price of 339,000 yuan. They should probably, do something about that by just dividing by 1,000, then it could be 339. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. To change their money. I'm thinking the US should do the same thing. We should probably divide by at least 10. Anyway, but that 339,000 yuan turns out to be about $47,000 in the United States, 47,200 of US dollars. And my guess is if it comes to the US in exactly the same form that it is there, it'll probably sell for more like 52,000, which I think would be a deal. I think they'd sell a bunch of them. Sawyer Merritt goes on in some more descriptions of what's going on with that Model L, the Model YL. We need a better name. Anyway, in a first for Tesla, the new Model Y has air-cooled wireless phone chargers. There you go. The charging base has small slit air vents in the center that blows cool air onto your phone to prevent overheating. The left driver's side wireless charger now supports up to 50-watt charging speeds, previously only 30-watt. The right charger is still 30-watt. Tesla on the new Model YL, first of all, what does anybody care about that? Well, yeah, of course. And by the way, there are all these little things that you're going to see all these changes. Guess what? Probably going to be coming to some of the other models as well. Tesla on the new Model YL, the carefully tuned, this is what they're saying about their own car, the carefully tuned chassis equipped with a continuous variable damper that adapts to road conditions can effectively filter vibration, improve grip and stability, and allow you to get more precise control. In addition, the new Tesla Model Y, according to Sawyer Merritt, features a black headliner, a first for a Model Y variant, redesigned front seats that are more comfortable and have adjustable headrests, armrests and cup holders in the third row, additional front seat leg rest support, 6-seat, by the way, I think the Chinese are doing that, so they're probably just responding to that. 6-seat configuration, second row captain chairs with powered armrests. They power up and down. So Larry and I were wrong last night. It wasn't just, power stations to plug in. No, these are power armrests that go up and down, so you can decide where you want your arm to be. 4 additional air vents or pillars, 2 for the second row and 2 for the third row passengers. Second and third row seats are all power foldable. There is a larger spoiler, and there are a few other things that he noticed. He says there's a hook on the right side of the rear cargo area. Current Model Y doesn't have that. This will be a good tie down, anchor point, but also nice if you want to hang a bag or something. There are 4 buttons on the left side that let you power fold the third row seats and second row captain's chairs completely flat, and also power raise both of those rows back up again. And then there's double stitching details extending all the way to the third row armrest. Nice touch. Tesla will have a strong Q3, he continues. If the Model Y will come to North America, don't know. But if it does, it'll probably launch in Q4. So there won't be much of an issue with Osborning, especially since this is a higher priced model. Yeah, well, that's true. You can't really, kind of hard to Osborne if you have a higher price model. Anyway, it'd be great if we get a Model X, Model YL in the United States and in Europe. I certainly hope that happens, expect it to happen. And then what about the more affordable car? Could that also break in the Q4? Who knows? Maybe the Q4 could be quite a standout. This is from Hiroshi. That is H-I-R. This is, he's on X. Hiroshiy. Breaking! Tesla Japan has begun testing its FSD tech on public roads. Its employees started tests this summer, and the company plans to release the FSD software to the public in the near future, pending compliance with safety standards and guidelines in Japan. Separate article, didn't write it down, but Thailand too. Elon said he's waiting regulatory approval. Barron's, Tesla might actually be winning the robotaxi wars, an analyst says. William Blair's analyst, Jed Dorsheimer, took both Tesla robotaxi and Waymo rides in Austin, Texas recently. This is how he's talked about it. Tesla stock was down early Tuesday, but not much, with investors seemingly in late summer mood. That mood came after William Blair analyst Jed Dorsheimer reviewed the 2 products. He says, wow, about the Tesla. Wow, everything's computer, he wrote in a Tuesday report, and he was referencing what President Donald Trump said in a White House event where he bought a Tesla from CEO Elon Musk. The president was impressed with Tesla technology, so was Dorsheimer. The comparisons are immediate and stark. When we drove past Waymo and Zoox vehicles outfitted with their complex sensor suite, they stuck out like a sore thumb, added the analyst. Tesla, which launched a small robotaxi service in Austin, Texas on June 22nd, uses only optical cameras and the full drive software to make cars drive themselves. Alphabet's Waymo and Amazon's Zoox use more expensive sensors. That can give Tesla a cost advantage in the robotaxi business, Dorsheimer says, assuming Tesla's approach is as effective as others. Tesla's robotaxi felt like a more luxurious service than Waymo for half the cost, and the driving felt more human-like. Gary Black? That's a win for Tesla. Waymo is the far more experienced robotaxi operator, completing more than 250,000 fully autonomous rides each week. Still, both services are impressive, according to Dorsheimer. Dorsheimer values Tesla's robotaxi business at almost $300 a share, or more than $900 billion. He rates Tesla shares a hold, but doesn't have an explicit retail target for this stock. This is sum of the parts valuation, which looks at Tesla's various businesses, including robotaxi, cars, and energy storage, is close to $360 a share. So he's only got $60 for cars and energy and the future Optimus and the charging stations and services and he's only got $60 for the rest of it. Interesting. Investors Business Daily comes with this. Coming out of their long skid, shares of Tesla have tightened up and found support at the 40-week moving average. Budding turnarounds in the 21-day exponential moving average and 50-day line mark 2 more signs of improving technical strength. Look for the 21-day and the 50-day lines to climb back above the longer-term 200-day to confirm that trend. Well, I don't know what all those are, but maybe you do. As the EV maker shores up support and its charts show tighter, healthier action, Tesla stocks continue to form an early stage flat base at 367.71. This is what they've been talking about all along. So maybe we're going to see that number soon. To kick off next week, Tesla rose over 1% on Monday, continues to hold above the 200-day line, and it's up solidly this morning. While its relative strength line retreated as the stock tumbled in the first half of the year, it has halted that decline and started to edge higher. So as the company flashes signs of demand and improves sales and earnings outlook, see if Tesla can energize a new breakout move. As I've mentioned more than a few times, I think they're going to have a very, very good third quarter in terms of car sales and energy sales. And we should get some real breakthroughs and breakouts in September in terms of robotaxi and FSD. So yeah, I think it's going to be pretty incredible. And then fourth quarter, things are starting to look like maybe fourth quarter could be pretty amazing. Tesla Energy reported this morning. California's Powerwall fleet continues to deliver the promise of virtual power plants, 206 million projected net savings. Oh, the net savings for Californians by 2028. 1 gigawatt of grid support, doubling capacity to match a natural gas plant. 539 megawatts delivered in a single event, enough to power half of San Fernando Valley. The Braille Group, no, that's wrong. I'm sorry. The Brattle, B-R-A-T-T-L-E Group, that's how it is on X. California's demand-side grid support program can provide up to 206 million net. Oh, that's what I just said. So this is just more details on that. Sawyer Merritt has this, though, with regard to Australia. Australia's biggest gas advocates are quietly swapping out gas peaker plants for big batteries. Two of the country's biggest battery projects announced recently are both to be built on sites previously earmarked for gas turbines and peaking plants. Tesla Archive has this about China numbers this week. We've almost forgotten about China numbers. I know I still report them every week, but it's not as big a deal anymore, right? Breaking: Tesla Model 3 outsells Xiaomi's SU7 in weekly sales for the first time since January. Tesla sold 14,000 vehicles in China from August 11 to 17, up 4.5 from the previous week's 13.4. Model 3 registrations at 5,200, surpassing Xiaomi's 3,600 vehicles. And that's the first time since January. Model Ys led with 8,800 units, remaining China's top-selling SUV. This from Prashant _1722, Prashant _1722. Breaking: Grok has the highest growth rate of a whopping 1,343,408,000%. 1,343,408% from August 2024 to July 2025. It ranks number 2 among 10,000 AI tools with weighted average score of 0.42. Number 2 out of 10,500 AI tools. Achieved average session duration of 15 minutes and 43 seconds, beating OpenAI's ChatGPT and Google Gemini. Monthly average visits more than doubled to 129.8 million in the latest quarter. XAI built a very good model, sir, it says. This is Randy Kirk. Please like and subscribe. That was really good, right? That was good information. I don't know how well I delivered it. Hit like anyway, hit subscribe, hit notify, go to Patreon, join up. There's going to be some really good stuff coming around the book. You can guess what the deals are going to be, right? Well, starting sometime in September, those deals will start. So I guess you want to wait till then. But if you join up now, believe me, the folks who are members of Patreon already are going to get the very best deals when I start making the announcements. Privately, and also later today, as usual, we'll have Nicholas Gibbs, who you are now giving really high numbers to every week, and part 2 of the Brian White story. Privately owned housing units authorized by building permits in July were at a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 1,354,000, which is a 2.8% decline compared to the revised June numbers, and it's down 5.7 compared to same month last year. Single-family authorizations in July were at a rate that was 0.5% above the revised June figure, but units of buildings with 5 units or more were at a rate of only 430, which was down. Housing starts. Privately owned housing starts in July were at a seasonally adjusted annual rate that was 5.2% above the revised June estimate and 12.9% better than last July. That's shocking. Single family and housing starts in July were 2.8% above the revised June figure, and the July rate for units and buildings with 5 or more units was about the same as the permits, just about 470,000, a little bit more than the permits. So permits down a little bit, but housing starts up a little bit. That's a little better than I expected. Reuters has this about Home Depot. Home Depot missed their estimates for quarterly revenue and profit, but kept its annual forecast intact on Tuesday against a backdrop of homeowners reining in spending on large-scale renovations and focusing on do-it-yourself projects. The top U.S. home improvement chain's results kicked off a keenly watched earnings week for big box retailers, including Walmart and Target. Later this week, that will show how consumers are dealing with rising costs and sour economic sentiment. The sentiment is getting better. Home Depot and rival Lowe's are grappling with soft demand and higher rates, which prompt higher interest rates, which prompt homeowners to invest in essentially upgrades only. A gauge of U.S. home builder sentiment fell unexpectedly in August to its lowest level in over 2.5 years. Yeah, that was the 250 people that they do for the first half of the month. Let's see what the other, both next, is that later this week or next week? Yeah, next week we're going to get both guidances and we'll see if the consumers are feeling any better. The momentum that began in the back half of the year continued throughout the first half as customers engaged more broadly in smaller home improvements. Comparable sales in the U.S. rose 1.4 in the second quarter, marking its third straight quarter of growth. Analysts said the stronger demand in July was due to the late start to spring. We believe the consumer continuing to be selective in their approach to discretionary categories. Of course, once one economist, they also went on to say, I didn't copy that down. They went on to say that they're not really seeing that much of a problem from tariffs. There will be categories that will see some tariff adjustments, but that broadly no, and over 50% of their business is domestic. How did I lose that? I don't know what happened there. All right. So as I mentioned yesterday, we had one economist that mentioned the R word. Well, then other ones get permission to use it as well. So I've seen a couple of other stories, but my sense is this. We could have a month of kind of soft business. We could even have a quarter of negative data. Maybe the GDP is up, but the job numbers are down, or retail sales are less than expected. We might have that for a month or even a quarter, but 2 quarters in a row, not the slightest chance whatsoever, and it won't be the third quarter. So with the fourth quarter, I've been saying that the fourth quarter is when we start the giant run to the future. So I don't see it. I don't see how it's going to happen. But again, we could have a surprising month. I am not worried about the jobs. I'm not worried about spending. I continue to worry a little bit about the huge bullishness and the stretched equity markets. So I do still continue to believe we can have a 5 or 10% pullback just because. We have got Truflation this morning at 2.02 in the overnights. We've got 1.93 in the year over year. Both of those still great. And maybe the CPE number that PCE number that they're using doesn't change often because it's exactly the same at 261. I should check into that. Trump is sitting at 48, 1 point higher than yesterday. And the GDP, we don't have the change yet on that, so it's sitting at 2.5. Tomorrow morning, however, we will get the revised number from the Atlanta Fed. All right, so where are markets now? Well, let's start as we have begun to. Well, I'm going to start with Tesla because it popped up here. It's at $3.38, which is 1% higher, sitting at $338.54. We've got the Dow up 0.61. The NASDAQ down a little bit, down 0.74. S&P down 0.01. So a little bit of that, as I've mentioned, maybe we're seeing some rotation. We've got the Magnificent Seven, Apple up a little bit, the rest of them down. Again, showing some evidence of the rotation. We've got the VIX continuing under 15, 1486, and the Cathie Woods are thoroughly mixed. red, green, red, green, red, green. Okay, let's go ahead to the bonds, which were down last time I checked, which is a good thing. Almost 3 basis points, 2.9. We're at 4.31. Man, I'd like to get this thing under 3. That would change so much. Talk about the market getting a bump. That getting under the 4, getting a 3 handle on the bonds, that would give the markets a spurt, I assure you. Oil sitting down again, 58 cents, $62.84 a barrel. Could go under 60, could get a 5 handle on that. Natural gas down 4.29% at 276. That is the lowest I think I've seen it in the recent months. Gold down up $1.60, call it flat, 33.70, call it 33.80. Silver down 0.44 at 37.86. That's still very strong for silver. And copper down back down to 4.44. That's down 0.76. So not near, coming down quite a bit from that 4.50. I continue to believe copper is going to be heading up. Dollar slips, it says, as market digests the Ukraine summit, but I'm seeing it mixed here with the euro down and the yen up. The dollar up against the euro and down against the yen. We have Bitcoin down another 2,000, finally getting under the 115 number, 114,361. That's interesting. And that is the score as we're sitting right now. So once again, just let me remind you, we'll have Nicholas Gibbs, 5:15-ish. We'll have Brian White, part 2. That will be at 7:45, roughly. And we will have last night, if you want to go back and look, I think I'm going to point you to the Brian White video because that was really quite good. And so I'm going to put that card right up there. We've got Tesla still sitting at just under 338 now, 337.89. So trending a little bit down. Hopefully we close above 338, maybe even well above 338 today. Is that all I've got for you? I think that's about it. I can't think of anything else. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. It has been great talking to you.